What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr Wargames, and as promised, I am bringing you a test stand video for our Red Eyes deck profile that we did for you guys the other day. I'm going to try and keep this one short, sweet and simple. It's not hugely explosive, but it can be very, very powerful and damaging. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our standard 3 test stands going first and 3 test stands going second, because we do that in all of our test stands just to show the balance. There's no point, even if the deck prefers to go second, doing 6 test stands going second, because at some point you will have to go first with it, and we want to show the versatility of the deck. So after I've shuffled, cut it up a little bit, given it to my opponent to cut, I'm going to draw my opening hand of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they will be a Red Eyes Baby Dragon, a Gearfried, a Cards of the Redstone, a Red Eyes, and a Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon. So we're going to start off with our Cards of the Redstone, sending our Red Eyes to the graveyard to draw us 2 more. Wow, that's a great one to get. Okay, so we've got a bit of play to go with. Let's have a look. So our Red Eyes Baby Dragon can act as a face down defense, kind of hit me and let's go kind of play. You've got your fusion play here if you wanted to search out your... so you go for a fusion protection first turn, entirely up to you on that one. You've got your Return of the Dragon Lords to get into your graveyard. The biggest downside is if you do get out your Red Eyes Fusion, you cannot normal summon or special summon other monsters for the turn you activate this thing. So you would have to go, you would use this effect, send another Red Eyes, activate Fusion, set your Baby Dragon, and then pass your turn, and then let your play go through that way. That's one option. Or of course, if you wanted to hold on to that, you do have other options. You can search out your Call of the Haunteds. You can search out your Fiendish Chains if you wanted to bring that one, because you're going to have a Red Eyes on board, so your Fiendish Chain is actually going to be quite live. So it does give you a couple of options to play and move around in that sense. So again, the options are open. On this one, I would probably go... I could probably save the Fusion. I think the Fusion will actually work a lot better for me next turn. Obviously, what I don't want to do is lose my targets in the deck, which I don't think I'll do. So I'd activate the Red Eyes Insight. I'd send a Red Eyes to my graveyard. I'd add the Red Eyes Fusion, and that would go to the grave as well. And then what I can do is I can activate Return of the Dragon Lords to bring back one of my Red Eyes, and I've got a bit of protection for him there already. So that's that used. And then of course I can either play one of these guys, or I can set my Red Eyes at Baby Dragon. Now obviously that's the most defensive play, going first. I know it's not the most outstanding board, but it does give you a couple of options. You've got Red Eyes on board, your opponent hits over this, you're getting another Red Eyes on board. And then of course you've got other options there. And then of course if you wanted to, you could have quicked it. Entirely up to you on your options that you've got to play, but it then gives you another Red Eyes to board. Which, if you wanted to, instead of using the Fusion, if your other Red Eye survives, you can obviously overlay, go into your Tomahawk and start moving your plays forward that way. So it gives you a kind of a slow build, but it does show you what the Red Eyes can kind of muster up. Yeah, ideally you don't want the Baby Dragon to just be that exact thing, but sometimes it can actually help. If only Red Eyes were like a fire attribute, you're trucking True Kings in this with your diagram. That's just crazy, I'm only joking. Okay, so our next test hand going first. Like I said, if you wanted to be more devastating on that one, you could be the Fusion. If you wanted to be more conservative, you'd go the way that I did. So there we go, that's our opening hand of 5. Not the most ideal kind of ones to go with, but we can get a Red Eyes monster from our deck with the Blackstone Legend, which helps out massively. It does require our normal summon, but it does also make our Red Eyes Fang with Chain playable. But of course, our best kind of play would probably be the Red Eyes Insight play. Send in a Red Eyes to graveyard, searching out our Red Eyes Fusion, already gone past it. And then we've got options for all 3 of our Red Eyes Fusion monsters. So it's entirely up to you on which one you would like to go with. Obviously, Comet is a bit more first turn and is very, very powerful. Slasher, so when a Red Eyes monster declares an attack, you entitle 1 warrior monster in your graveyard, equip it to this card as an equip spell. With this effect, the equipped monster gains 200 attack. When a card or effect is activated that targets a card you control, quick effect, you can send 1 equipped card you control to the graveyard and negate the activation. And if you do, destroy that card. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you special summon as many monsters from the graveyard as possible that were equipped to this card. So it's entirely up to you if you want to go and slash it for a bit more defense play and elongated play. You've also got Chain Neck that can protect you as well. Archfiend I'd probably save because he's not going to be as effective to us right now. It then also means you could set Stone if you wanted to. So you could set Stone, end the board with one of those two, and you've got a Fiendish Chain set. So again, not the most explosive, but you can see where it's got a bit more kind of stability with the baby dragon, and of course with the new chain and stuff like that. It just allows you to protect your monsters a hell of a lot more going first. Obviously going second is where it's going to thrive and provide you with the kind of dominion that you want. So I lost test hand going first, and we've got, after I've shuffled up and cut, our opening hand of 5 being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's a shame. If we had a Red Eyes in hand, that would have been very, very good. We've got a Fusion. Unfortunately, that is probably our best play there. And again, we can end with a Slasher Dragon, or of course our Meteor Comet. And obviously our Comet, because we've got the Silver Scribe, we could set that and bring back our Red Eyes if we wanted to. Ideally, we would have liked to have had this one to give us the extra draw, or had a Red Eyes in hand for the draw. But this is kind of how the play would work, just to give you a Fusion on board. But like I said, the Slash Dragon does give you a more of an option, because you can then re-equip the Gearfried from your graveyard to the monster that you've just set. Anyway, now we're going to start going second. We are going to get a bit more aggressive, and hopefully we're going to be able to do a lot of damage to our opponents. So, our first opening hand of 6 will be, after I've cut these up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it really depends on how aggressive we would like to be. We've got the Fusion that will give us a 3500 beater on board, burn our opponent out, plus do a bit more damage to him. Or, of course, we can go into our Archfiend this time. Our Archfiend would again do some more damage to him, being a 3200 beater, kind of like an Armades. And then if damage calculation performed involving this Fusion Summon card at the end of the battle phase, you target a Red Eyes normal monster from your graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its attack to the graveyard, and then shuffle it into the deck. So you're going to burn your opponent even more. So that's what you'd get out of your Red Eyes Fusion. You've got your Insight as well. Now I would activate Red Eyes Fusion before I activated Allure of Darkness if I wanted to. I could activate Red Eyes Insight just to make sure I've got another Red Eyes in the graveyard. So what I would do is I'd activate the Red Eyes Insight now that I've got Fusion in hand, send the Red Eyes Dragon to my graveyard and search out one of the traps. Now it can either be your Fiendish Chain if you want a bit more protection during your turn, or of course it could be the Return to start bringing back your Red Eyes. So if we set the Red Eyes there, then activate the Fusion. Fusion of course would send, because we're going aggression, this is kind of what I would play. I would send our Red Eyes and I would send our Summoned Skull. They would go to the graveyard. And then of course, even though I'm locked into our Fusion monster, I'm going to attack, then use his effect to spin back the Red Eyes Black Dragon, burning my opponent for 24. I could allure before this if I wanted to, but I can also allure after this. I can still set, so I can set the Baby Dragon as well. And that gives me the option, so my next turn I actually have the option for 3 Red Eyes, should my opponent not do anything. So I'll show you what I mean. If I choose not to allure, what we'll have is I'll be able to set the baby. Now if my opponent destroys the baby, I'm going to get a Red Eyes from deck or graveyard. So let's say they destroy the baby, and I'm going to get a Red Eyes from a deck. There we go, so we got that. Let's say they Regeki'd the board or something like that. Cleared my board off completely. And now, of course, I technically control a Red Eyes monster, so I can then activate Return of the Red Eyes. Obviously, wanted to save that into my end phase unless I'm absolutely forced to. Draw my card for turn. Now, obviously, the biggest disappointment is the Blackstone is now kind of dead. Red Eyes Fusion is quite nice, though. So, even if I didn't have the Red Eyes Fusion, you know, I could still make some plays, but in this one, I can play the Red Eyes Fusion. In this example, you would send the Red Eyes. Ideally, I'd want the Armed Dragon in there. Send my Red Eyes. Bring out my Comet. Now, if I wanted to, I could have overlaid these into the Tomahawk. So if I save all this, I could have done all that, but then I wouldn't be able to use the Red Eyes. Whereas this, because I've already done damage to my opponent, that's going to burn him for even more, and I'm going to attack him more for game. So that just gives you a hell of a lot more to kind of play with, and as you can see, did a huge amount of damage to our opponent. Yes, it did take us another turn, but it's taken us 2 turns to kind of finish off our opponent with a Red Eyes deck, and the Baby Dragon really helped with that one. So now let's do our second test stand, go in second, and see if we can get the similar outcome. There we go. Cut that there, and then take our opening hand of 6, being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, alright, slow down. Now, obviously, depending on... Monster Reborn could be so much more bigger than it is right now, because depending on what our opponent has in their graveyard, we can use and abuse that. Now, of course, we're going to play the cards of the Redstone to get our Red Eyes in the graveyard and draw 2. Now we've got, you know, loads of plays to go. So we can normal summon the Blackstone Legend, use his effect to tribute it off, give us a Red Eyes to our field. Then, of course, we can play our Return of the Dragon Lords to bring back this Red Eyes, and we've got protection in our grave for any dragon that we bring onto the board. Then we can overlay these into the Tomahawk, and this is where we can start to go off. So Tomahawk's effect is going to give us a heck of a lot more. Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to finish our opponent off, but you detach both materials from this card, special summon as many Battle Eagle machine type tokens as we want, but destroy them during the end phase. Your opponent takes no further battle damage. So, you know, you've kind of locked your opponent out, but hey ho, or, you know, your opponent's protected for the turn, but hey ho, we're now going to get 5 tokens back, all machine, and we're going to start linking up. So you link up your Tomahawk and 1 card, and go into your Kleehawk Genesis. You would then link up 2 more tokens and go into your Proxy Dragon, then link up 1 more token and go into your Link Spider. There we go. I believe I've done this right. Yeah, and then you can link all 4 up if you wanted to into your Saruja, and you've got loads of fodder in the graveyard now. Loads and loads and loads of fodder. So we've got our Saruja on board. Saruja's effect, because we use 4, is going to let us draw 4 and return 3. Don't really want anything off of Insight. Don't really want anything off of Chain. Allure can give me an additional draw. I could keep the Red Eyes in the hands just so I've got a guarantee on the Allure. But I'm going to put that back into deck as well. So we're going to put them back into the deck. Well, I suppose if I kept the Red Eyes, I could special summon it with Saruja. Yeah, I've got more plays actually. Let's keep the Red Eyes. Let's think smart. We'll put the Fiendish Chain back. Bring the Saruja down a bit. So we can then use Saruja's effect to special summon Red Eyes right here. We've got a Monster Reborn that can special summon a Red Eyes right here. And obviously, I believe they get it's more than once. It's every time, isn't it? If a monster is normal summon or special summon to a zone, this card points to that monster or monsters gains 300 attack. Yeah, so then that's going up another 300. Then, of course, we can overlay these guys into our Red Eyes Flare Metal. We can then detach a material to revive a Red Eyes. Boom. So now we've got a 31, a 27, I believe it is. And then we can set these 2 cards if we wanted to. Allure of Darkness, whatever we get, it doesn't really matter. Well, both the babies. Banish a baby. Allure of Darkness as well. Draw 2 more. Oh, busted! No! That's insane. Banish the Red Eyes. Special summon this guy. Let's put him there so he gets another 300. And then target a Red Eyes. Yeah, that's the thing. And then set 2 of these. Game? So unless I misstepped on anything on that, which I'm pretty sure I didn't, that was crazy powerful. That just shows you, obviously it wouldn't be game because they'll be under Tomahawk, but you know, see what I mean? Like, they've got a Red Eyes Flare to deal with on 31 that can't be destroyed by card effects, and it's just going to go activate burn, activate burn, activate burn, activate burn. You've got a Red Eyes Darkness Metal, which you could have held on to. You could have, like, I would probably have held on to that just for a bit more protection. And just because if my opponent did manage to clear my board with a Red Eyes Flare on it, I still had plays to make next turn. And you can kind of move it that way. Anyway, let's do our final test hand, go in second, and show you what this devastating deck can now do. So, test hand of 6, or go in second. And our last test hand of 6 will be, after a decent fair cut and a nice little cut there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Excellent. Okay, so we can activate a Law of Darkness if we wanted to. Wouldn't give us our guarantee, depending on what we get. But we could, of course, also Red Eyes Insight for a guarantor. Now, it's entirely up to you on how you'd like to play this, because you can, of course, Raigeki. But by Raigeking, it then changes what fusion monster you would bring out. Well, not massively, it just means you get more damage to your opponent on board. So there's 2 options here. Let's say we do the Red Eyes Insight play, send a Red Eyes from our deck to search out the Red Eyes Fusion. Now this is obviously one way of going about it. We send our Red Eyes Black Dragon to the graveyard, and then we're going to activate our Red Eyes Fusion, and that on turn will give us, send our Summon Skull and a Red Eyes. There we go. Fusion summon out our Archfiend. We would Raigeki to clear our opponent's board. We would attack for 32. Now damage calculations happen, so his effect goes off to spin back a Red Eyes. So we've just done in total 56 damage to our opponent. Now we've got 2 options here. We could allure and get rid of the baby, the Red Eyes baby, if we wanted to, or we could set it all. So I would ideally set everything. Sorry, set the baby dragon, set everything, and then activate the Allure of Darkness, depending on if we got lucky or not. We didn't really, because that has to get banished. We then set another one. We pass to our opponent. Let's say they Raigeki, or not get Raigeki, sorry. Let's say they somehow clear this off and then destroy the baby by battle. We then get to bring a Red Eyes out of our deck. Now it's important that the baby has to be destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard. You get to special summon a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck, and if you do, equip this card from your graveyard to it, and it gains 300 attack. If this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you add a level 1 dragon from your hand to your deck or graveyard to your hand. So that would then re-equip to this, and we're on 27. Then let's say our opponent passes to us, we draw. Wow, that's kind of a really good draw. We would activate Silver's Cry. We can do that during our opponent's turn or our turn, entirely up to us. That would bring us out our Red Eyes Black Dragon. If we wanted to, we've got more plus power there by drawing 2 more. Not that that's not huge help, but we can then obviously overlay these guys into our Tomahawk if we wanted to, or if we wanted to go ham, because we've already done quite a lot of damage to us or to our opponent already. That then lets us search out our Blackstone. Red Eyes Flare can then bring back a Red Eyes, so he's already got Target and Grace, we'd bring this one back. Then we could, if we wanted to, we can normal summon our Gearfried, attack for 28, attack for 24, attack for 18. And then, of course, if our opponent isn't dead by then already, we've got the burn happening with our Red Eyes Flare. Now, if you wanted to go a little bit further into the game as well on that one, you could go into your Tomahawk and then do the entire Tomahawk play from the second test hand, or the second second test hand. So that is it for the Red Eyes deck profile. I hope this helps. I hope it's giving you a couple of ideas of how the deck kind of operates and just kind of the ways it can work. If you do want to see any other deck profiles or test stands, please let us know and we will do our best to accommodate for you. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and as always, guys, happy dueling. Also, YouTube, thanks for watching that video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit that like button. And of course, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button in the bottom left-hand corner and the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. We've got more deck profiles, duels, pack openings, and many more Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos coming up for you all year round. So don't forget to stay tuned for all of that. Thanks, and as always, guys, happy dueling.